Hey everyone, I'm back. So today is such a beautiful day. It's sunny and the sky is blue, and it's also lockdown. But you know what? It is okay. We've been on lockdown for 6 days now, and it's a good time to do things. I made some cake. I made some brioche. Brioche, I say now, I would say brioche. But yeah, I made some brioche. But yeah, so since it's locked down, I said I'm gonna sit down and have a conversation with you guys. And it's something, when everything stops and you just have to, you're in your mind, and you can't really do anything that much, so you just stay inside and you really think. And I was thinking about how lucky I've been, but also it helped me look at how the changes and what I did to be able to to change a bit the way I see myself. Why am I talking about this? I mean, as the title says, I'll be talking about a few things I did, three things I did to heal myself after being vilified. So, being vilified is something that is very traumatic, and it's funny because um, you don't, um, you don't know you're getting traumatized when you're in it, right? It's just when you get out of it, and then you see things differently that you realize, oh, I was traumatized, and I'm gonna just I want to say that there is a difference between being called out and being vilified, because being called out, people say that you did something wrong and that you did do, like, it's you can if you look deep inside, you can see that yes, what I did was wrong, and then as you understand what you did, you try and change and become a better person, and hopefully you make amends, not sorry, but make amends and change the way you are. Being vilified is completely different ball game, because the person doing the vilifying will say things that are not necessarily true, or things that the person might have understood and ran with it, and and put what they understood on you, but that wasn't what you're doing, and then they just go on and go on. It's constant sometimes, and it could be also be occasional, right? I like what I'm doing, like it's constant sometimes. Okay, yeah. Anyways, whatever. Like, I'm trying to be funny, but it's not working. But it's constant or occasional, right? And I always dealt with it was the more occasional one. It started out very subtle, and then by the middle it was a bit, more in my face, and then by the end it became really apparent that I was being vilified, and I was starting to see myself in a very, very, very negative light. And that I had to do things when I realized what was going on to change, to make me feel a bit more happy, to see myself in a different light, and that's what I did. That's what I did. I think I'm going to talk about the three things that I had to do in order to heal myself. Um, I think trauma sometimes is best when you're aware of that trauma, right? So how you become aware of that trauma, you're aware of what's happening to you, right? And for me, so I'm going to start with the first thing is being aware of what's happening to you, or being aware of how you feel after talking to a person that may be vilifying you, right? Um, how I realized I was being vilified, to me, it was more like, it was subtle, then became more, a little bit more apparent that I was being vilified. And at the last moment, it was more, it was really in your face. It was like, the person was saying things that I wasn't thinking, but that person was thinking that what what he or she thought was the truth, and placed it on me, and really made me feel that as if, I was just a bad person, right? And that I was thinking that way and I was a bad person, even though that's not the way I was thinking. So it's funny because when you're aware of what is going on, you start saying, ooh, what's going on, right? Awareness for me is something that goes a long way. It goes a long way in changing yourself, in changing a certain situation, in being aware of maybe the dangers you're in, anything. But being awareness is very important, right? So I was aware by the end, basically, when it was more, it was constant. It was like, I realized whenever I would stop talking to the person, I felt as if I was the worst human being ever. But when I would talk to other people, I didn't feel that way. I talked I think you have to be, for anybody who's or who are being vilified or being looked down upon, um, the first thing I say that you have to look is how do you feel after you've talked to that person? How do you feel after you've had a conversation with that person? How do you feel after you may have had, an argument with the person and you're trying to find a resolution to a situation? Do you feel good after you had the resolution, or do you still feel bad? You feel less than. You feel like you are not the best person, and then you have to be aware of the people that you're with, how they make you feel. For example, I when I'm with my twin brother, I am after having conversation with my twin brother, I always feel loved, empowered. I feel, like I can do, you know, I can do anything when I'm around my twin brother, when I have a conversation with him. And even when we had fights with my twin brother, after a fight, there was always a resolution. There was always a moment where I would say what you did wrong, and then you would say what I did wrong, and then we would try together look at how we can fix the situation so we don't have to go through the same fight again. The same thing with my husband. If we have little, arguments, well, we don't really have arguments, but when we disagree on things, basically, we really sit down and have a conversation of what I may have said, what he may have said, and then we get out, and then we feel as if, oh, okay, I feel good. So this is the one thing I would suggest people: be aware of how you feel when you're around a person, how that person makes you feel after any situation. If you feel less than, if you feel bad, you feel like you're the most horrible person, and it only happens with that person, but with other people you don't feel that, then there's something going on, and it may be a good time to check up on yourself and see how you can maybe heal yourself, right? The second thing I did, and the second thing, that's something I've done since last year, basically, is good to help groups. And I think for anybody, whether they're going through traumatic events, whether they can talk about the anxiety, they can talk about an addiction, for example, NA, or AA, or people that you go with help groups, people that help you talk about um, you know sexual assault, all those things. When you get into groups who are going through the same thing as you, and you talk to them, and since they're going through the same thing as you, can learn from how they may have handled certain situations differently, how to yeah how they could have handled how they handled the situation, and it gives you a different perspective because people are going through the same thing as you, and you can learn from each other. It's I think help groups are beautiful because it's one of the best way to learn from a situation, by talking to people that are in the same situations as you, basically, right? And so I went to a help group, basically, and we in that help group we talk about lots of things, and I heard the story of a person um, that said, I think I'm being vilified, and whenever I used to talk to that person, um, they felt a certain way, and they said something that just made me uh, aware of those things. When those kind of things happen, there comes a time where you have to disengage, you know? I'm saying disengage doesn't mean that, I'm not saying, oh my God, since that person did that, was vilifying you and making you feel bad, stop talking to that person, you know, just stop talking to that person. That's not what I'm saying. I think, um, depending on your situation, depending on how you view a situation with a person, you'll know what to do. You'll know if you want to keep on talking to that person, if you want to tell that person how you feel about a certain situation, if you feel that you should just get away from that person, or if you should disengage. And I think what I did is that I I had to disengage. I really had to disengage because as I said before, I was feeling less than, and every time I was trying to explain that I was feeling less than, the other person found ways to explain why he or she had to do what he or she had to do, and there was never a resolution basically, and then I would end up feeling like there was no resolution and still feeling that I was the worst person ever. And in order for myself to get out of that situation, I had to completely disengage. So I didn't have to live the trauma over and over and over again. I think sometimes it's one of the best things to do to just disengage, because you realize that you will never win or you'll never do. I think having discussions or debate is not a question of winning or losing. I have to watch a Raphael. I think it's much more finding a resolution, making sure that people on both party can see where they are going wrong. And I never had that. And I said to myself, I need to disengage because right now what's happening is that my trauma is getting bigger, um, and yes, I'm using the word trauma because I think once I was out of that situation, disengage, I had to pull myself out of that situation. um, I got to see how I was feeling inside because I wasn't in the action of it all. I wasn't thinking about it all the time, and I was able to look at the situation from the outside, as if I was from the outside looking within, right? And when I did that, I that's when I understood. Oh, yeah, I think I'm having a trauma, right? I'm being traumatized a little bit. And yeah, so when I heard in my help group with the person telling what was going on, I was living the same thing. It really dawned on me. I think I have to disengage. I have to disengage because I'm getting hurt. I'm getting hurt. I am listening to that person telling me I am it sometimes was very subtle, but it was very clear. I am a horrible person. I am mean. I don't think about that person. I only think about myself. I was everything negative. I was anything that was negative. I was, and when it happens on occasion, it happens. A lot. Sometimes you don't you don't see it, but your brain remembers. Your brain really remembers. So when I decided to just disengage, and then I really put myself first, I felt a lot better because then I found myself, always trying to stay. I found myself when I was talking to that person, trying to, trying to be like, if I say this, it's gonna come out right. Like everything I would say would always turn out wrong. So I think disengaging from that situation is one of the best things to do when you're in that situation, and it kind of helped me. And then after, you'll see what you can do after. But being in the help group, honestly, all in all, being in the help group and being able to have somebody talk about an experience like that person did, and suddenly saying, "Oh, okay, so maybe I should," because you learn from each other, right? And the third thing, and the last thing I did, and that I've been doing for a while now, that has really helped me also, is talking to a therapist, talking to a psychologist. I believe that in life, when you are going through something very complicating, something difficult, it is important to, if you have the capacity, of course, because like, I have to be aware, some you also have to be aware of your privilege and all that. Some people may not have that, right? But if it's possible, if it's possible, and I know in some places um you can find a therapist. I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want to give out false information. So I'm just gonna backtrack and continue what I was saying. Going to stay in my lane. I think if you have the capacity, if you're capable, then it's important to talk to either therapist or either a psychologist, because with them they tend to help you see the situation in a different light. And that's what happened to me. I saw the situation in a different light, and I was starting to heal. And then every time I was talking, my psychologist made me aware that I was traumatized about a few things that happened in my past, and that situation became one of them, where there was like a certain trauma that I was going through. And when that happened, that's when I was fully aware of, I could put in words what I was feeling. And I remember just saying to my psychologist, I was like, I'm being vilified, and I'm being made out to be something I am not. And I remember crying. It felt so good, just like, letting it out. Um, I could really say this is what's happening to me. And I was also able to see that, um, that that I had to put myself first sometimes. And I think in life it's important to, sometimes I think you have to put yourself first, and it's okay if you put yourself first. I do think that you can't always put yourself first. You also have to be aware of the society that we live in, a society, so you have to also compromise. So it was a balance of knowing that, right? So these are the three things that I did basically that helped me heal after being vilified. And I hope I can, if anybody's going through the same thing as me, they can take out something out of all this. And yeah, and then hopefully you can start that journey to heal yourself, right? And remember that life is a journey. Look at me, I'm trying to be like a guru or something. I'm no guru. What I'm saying is what I'm going through, and then what has helped me. And I hope you can take out of it. You can take something out of it, right? So yeah, this is the end of the conversation with me, Rafi. And yeah, if you like the vlog, if you like the conversation, like, comment, and subscribe. I love sitting down sometimes and just, talking to you guys. And yeah. So if that really helped, then good on you. And then, so if you like the vlog, like, comment, and subscribe if you want, of course. And yeah, this is it. You have a good day, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Bye, guys.